There's only one position on a pitch at 41 years of age you should be starting a game, and that's goalkeeper for me.
5 in red in the middle. Ronaldo! Approaching.
For a 40, 41-year-old to be playing centre forward, I just don't get it.
Cristiano Ronaldo! And he's done it again.
Negatively impacts on the rest of the players in terms of what they have to give.
A man walks off a pitch with his shoulders down. 25 touches in 90 minutes. No shots on target. A draw that felt like a defeat. The headlines write themselves. Too old, too slow, finally finished. We've heard this before. 2018, 2022, now 2026. Every 4 years, someone decides Cristiano Ronaldo is done. And every 4 years, he finds a way to make that headline look ridiculous.
40, I think he's a little bit selfish, he's actually.
For himself, I think so. But you know what he's like.
6 days later, the same man scores twice, drags Portugal to a 3-goal win, and walks past Eusebio as the greatest World Cup scorer his country has ever produced, at 41. So what is this, really? Stubbornness? Ego? Or something closer to the most relentless career arc in football history? Today, we're tracing Ronaldo's World Cup story, from the kid who couldn't stop smiling to the 41-year-old who refuses to stop fighting. 6 tournaments, 6 completely different versions of the same man. Let's get into it. Rewind 2 decades. Germany, summer 2006. Cristiano Ronaldo is 21 years old, and the football world is only just starting to take notice of him. Portugal still belonged to the golden generation, Figo, Deco, Pauleta. But anyone watching closely could see the torch was already changing hands. Manager Luis Felipe Scolari built his side around legends, but he gave the kid on the wing total freedom. Run at people, take them on, create chaos. Ronaldo answered immediately. His first ever World Cup goal came from the penalty spot against Iran, ice cold, helping seal a 2-0 win in the group stage. Portugal cruised through the group, then walked into one of the most brutal knockout games in World Cup history against the Netherlands. A match so violent it earned its own nickname, the Battle of Nuremberg. 16 yellow cards. Ronaldo limped off in tears after a heavy challenge. Portugal survived anyway. That set up a quarterfinal against England that went the distance. 0-0 after 120 minutes, straight to penalties. Portuguese keeper Ricardo turned into an instant folk hero, saving 3 English spot kicks. And with the semi-final on the line, it was the 21-year-old who stepped up to take the decisive penalty. No hesitation. Bottom corner. Portugal were through to their first World Cup semi-final in 40 years. But here's the thing. That's not the moment most people remember from 2006. During that same quarterfinal, Ronaldo's Manchester United teammate Wayne Rooney was sent off for a stamp on Ricardo Carvalho. Ronaldo ran straight to the referee. Red card shown.
For this. Where he's gone down, he's like fighting for it.
This is what he's
just
doing.
A little, just there.
Yeah. It's the Ronaldo.
England never do that to referees by trying to put pressure on them.
What is it?
I mean, I don't know. Are we too honest?
Rooney walked off, and the cameras caught Ronaldo winking toward the Portuguese bench. It set the English press on fire. Overnight, Ronaldo became public enemy #1 in England. Pundits speculated his club partnership with Rooney was finished for good. One wink, and a 21-year-old had become one of the most despised footballers in the country he was about to spend several more years playing in. Portugal eventually fell to France in the semis, but the tournament had already done its job. The world now knew exactly who Cristiano Ronaldo was, for better and for worse. By 2010, everything had changed. Ronaldo had just completed a world record transfer to Real Madrid, and Portugal handed him the captain's armband. He arrived in South Africa as the single biggest name in the sport, and the single biggest source of pressure on his own team. Manager Carlos Queiroz built a defensively obsessed side around him. It worked in the sense that Portugal didn't concede much. Clean sheets against Ivory Coast, North Korea, and even Brazil. But it came at a brutal cost up front. Across the entire tournament, Portugal managed to actually score in only one match, a 7-0 demolition of North Korea, where Ronaldo finally ended a 16-month goal drought for his country with a strange, scrappy finish in the 87th minute. Outside of that, he was isolated, surrounded, marked, and given almost nothing to work with. He was still good enough to be named man of the match in all 3 group games, but individual brilliance only goes so far inside a system built to avoid losing rather than to win. Portugal's run ended in the round of 16 against the eventual champions, Spain, a tight 1-0 defeat. Ronaldo walked off the pitch visibly furious. When reporters asked why Portugal had gone out, his answer was 4 words long. Ask Carlos Queiroz. It told you everything about where his head was at. a captain who felt he'd been set up to fail. If 2010 was a tactical cage, 2014 was a physical one. On paper, this should have been peak Ronaldo. He just won his second Ballon d'Or and lifted Real Madrid's long-awaited 10th Champions League trophy months earlier. Everything pointed toward a deep run in Brazil. His body disagreed. Ronaldo went into the tournament nursing serious knee and thigh problems. Doctors wanted him to rest for months. Instead, he played through it because missing a World Cup wasn't an option in his mind. It showed instantly. The acceleration, the sudden changes of direction, the explosiveness that defined his game, all of it was muted. Portugal opened with a humiliating 4-0 loss to Germany, a game where even his free kicks seemed to find a human wall rather than the net. A scrappy 2-2 draw with the USA followed, leaving Portugal needing a miracle just to survive the group. And in that game, even a hobbled Ronaldo could still conjure magic. Deep into stoppage time, down 2-1, he whipped in a curling cross that Sylvester Varela met with a header in the 95th minute to snatch a draw out of nothing.
Attack. Ronaldo's ball in. Good chance for the equaliser, and there it is! And it's the substitute for Ronaldo.
It wasn't enough to save Portugal's tournament. They edged past Ghana in the final group game, with Ronaldo scoring the winner, but still went out on goal difference. The story of 2014 wasn't tactics. It was the most basic truth in sport. Even the greatest athletes on the planet cannot outrun an injury. 4 years on, Ronaldo showed up in Russia as something close to the finished product. 5 Champions League titles deep, fresh off a Euro 2016 win with Portugal, and fully reinvented from a flying winger into one of the most lethal penalty box finishers the game had ever produced. Manager Fernando Santos built the entire structure of the team around letting Ronaldo focus purely on scoring, and for a stretch, it was devastating. He opened the tournament with a hat-trick against Spain in a wild 3-3 draw, then followed it with a towering header against Morocco to win 1-0. 2 games in, he already had 4 goals. Then came a frustrating final group match against Iran, a missed penalty that could have wrapped the game up, denied by a brilliant save. It was a rare crack in an otherwise ruthless tournament. Portugal scraped through to the round of 16, where a well-organized Uruguay side, led by a rock-solid Diego Godin and Jose Maria Jimenez, shut him down almost completely. Edinson Cavani scored twice, and Portugal were out 2-1. But this time, nobody blamed Ronaldo. He'd scored 4 of his team's 6 goals across the tournament and delivered arguably the most complete individual run of form of his entire World Cup career. Russia 2018 didn't damage his legacy. If anything, it proved exactly how much Portugal depended on him.
Qatar was different. This wasn't about form. It was about everything falling apart around him at once. His Manchester United exit had been messy and public. For the first time in his career, serious people were openly asking whether he should even start for Portugal anymore. He still made history early, scoring a penalty against Ghana to become the first men's player ever to find the net in 5 separate World Cups. But beyond that moment, the tournament turned uncomfortable. He looked less mobile, less influential in open play, and the criticism grew louder with every match. Then came the decision nobody saw coming. Manager Roberto Santos benched him for the round of 16 against Switzerland. Young striker Gonçalo Ramos started instead and scored a hat-trick in a 6-1 win. The question that followed was brutal in its simplicity. Was Portugal actually better without their captain? Ronaldo started on the bench again in the quarterfinal against Morocco, coming on in the second half as Portugal chased an equalizer that never arrived. Morocco won 1-0, and Portugal were out. As the final whistle blew, cameras caught Ronaldo walking alone down the tunnel, in tears. At 37, the World Cup he'd spent his whole career chasing was visibly slipping away. And for the first time, he wasn't the center of his country's future anymore. Which brings us back to where we started. Ronaldo, now 41, walking into what is almost certainly his final World Cup.
Coming in, there was real momentum. Portugal had just won the Nations League, with Ronaldo scoring repeatedly through the knockout rounds, including the final. For a moment, it looked like the critics had been silenced for good. Then the opener against the Democratic Republic of Congo happened. 90 minutes on the pitch, 25 touches, the fewest he'd recorded in any major tournament of his career. No shots on target. Portugal limped to a 1-1 draw, and Ronaldo looked, by his own brutal standards, almost invisible. The internet did what the internet always does. Within hours, it was the same conversation as 2022 and 2018 all over again. Is this finally it? 6 days later, the answer came back loud. The manager made changes. Joao Felix into the starting 11, Ruben Diaz back to full fitness, and Portugal looked like an entirely different team from kickoff. 6 minutes in, Ronaldo answered every single critic in the space of one finish. Portugal never let go after that. A second goal from Nuno Mendes, and then Ronaldo again just before halftime for a 3-goal cushion. 2 goals, 7 shots, 6 of them on target. One of the best 90 minutes of his entire World Cup career, coming directly after one of the worst. Those 2 goals pushed his career World Cup tally to 10, moving him past Eusebio and making him Portugal's all-time leading scorer at this tournament. 20 years after a 21-year-old winked his way into English tabloids, a 41-year-old had just rewritten his own country's record books.
6 World Cups, 6 completely different players wearing the same shirt. The explosive winger of 2006, the isolated captain of 2010, the wounded warrior of 2014, the ruthless finisher of 2018, the heartbroken veteran of 2022, and now the 41-year-old who still refuses to read the obituaries written about him every 4 years. Maybe this ends with the one trophy he's never lifted. Maybe it ends in heartbreak again. But whatever happens from here, Cristiano Ronaldo has spent 20 years proving that counting him out is historically a bad bet. Like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments, which version of Ronaldo do you remember most?